Hey guys, welcome back to the Snap Ring Chronicles. Today we have another Ratchet video. But as always, before we start, if you can give me a like, share, and subscribe. If you find these videos informative or helpful, I would appreciate it. I'm trying to grow this channel, so any support will be very helpful. Okay, today we have a Duralast Ratchet. It's a Duralast 73-873. And Duralast is a brand of Autozone parts store. So that's where you would usually find these. Okay, this is a 3/8 drive and it has 36 teeth. These I think first came out like 10 years ago and are pretty well regarded as far as like Taiwanese made ratchets. They made, I don't think these are available anymore. They made a 72 tooth version after this, which was pretty good also. And I think nowadays their main ratchet is like I don't know, 90 or over 100 teeth. So they went the very fine tooth ratchet route, and these aren't available no more. But these were considered pretty tough little ratchets. Okay, here's the handle. This one has a contoured rubber handle. See, it says Duralast there, and it has like blue lines on the back and a blue cap on the end and blue trimming on top. This I bought used. It's pretty well worn. See the handle there has some use. And on the shaft says guaranteed for life. Underneath it has letters on the plate. It says warning. I think it says inspect, clean, and oil regularly and replace worn parts on the bottom. And it has the little symbol of safety glasses, so to remind you to put your safety glasses on when you're working around tools. Alright, so let's open it up and see what's inside. Okay, to open this up you're going to need a Torx 10, and you're going to need a tiny Torx 6. So the plate screws are going to be your Torx 10s. Here are your screws. You can see, you can barely see that I put a little blue Loctite on the screws. There's your other screw. You see a little blue Loctite. Okay, you just lift up on the anvil a little bit and the plate comes out. And here's your plate. This plate surprisingly is pretty thick. And usually like Taiwanese made ratchets, like you would see like Harbor Freight, Pittsburgh Pro, they usually have a thinner plate. This one's pretty, it's got some weight to it. And it has like this deep engraved writing on and symbols that you would find on like more expensive ratchets. Like Snap-on usually has like engraving and writing like this on their plates. Okay. Here's your gear. Like I said, it's 36 teeth. That's what they look like. That's the ball detent there. And this ball detent doesn't seem too tight. I don't know, it works. You know, it's not gonna fall out, but It doesn't seem like the tightest ball detent. And on the anvil side, you have like a rubber gasket here, protecting the ratchet, I guess, from moisture and debris getting in. That's your rubber gasket. Here's the inside of the mechanism. You see your pawl there. That's how it switches. And here in the middle is a T6 screw that holds the switch. Okay, that's your screw. You can see there's a little blue Loctite on that. Okay, now the switch should come out. Here's the switch. It's made of metal. It has like a flat side on top that corresponds to a flat side on the pawl. It helps it switch. I'll show you that when I get the pawl out. And this here also has, I don't know if I should take it out. There's another little rubber gasket here around the switch. Okay, here it is. That's to help the moisture and debris from getting in. Okay, here's the pawl. Okay, the pawl has a ball underneath and a spring underneath that. So you just reach in. I try to cover as much as possible so the ball won't go flying, and I pull the pawl out. Okay. Here's your pawl. Like I showed you before, there's a flat part for the switch. See the flat part in the switch? It goes in there like that, and it switches, engages the pawl, so it's able to switch. Here's the pawl. Has 2 teeth per side here for engagement. That's underneath the pawl. It's a pretty thick pawl. You see the thickness there. Pretty robust. Okay. Here's the ball underneath the pawl. And there's a spring in the hole that pushes the ball. This is what the spring looks like. Okay, that's all your parts right there. Okay, to get this back together, you take your spring, you drop it in the hole there, like that. Okay, here's the tricky part. You try to take your ball and balance it on top of the spring, like so. Then you take your pawl. Remember, with the flat part of the pawl, with the hole, with the flat part goes towards the back, and the small hole stays in the front. What I do is I try to get this pointy part here of the pawl. I try to get that just inside the lip as I'm pressing the ball and spring down. Like that. Okay. Now what I do is holding the spring and ball down like that. I try to take the pawl and get this other pointy part, get it underneath the round part here. So what I do is I pull it out. I pull out the pawl a little bit. Pull it out a little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit. Let's try it again. Again. Pull it out a little bit, little bit. Try to get that pointy part like that inside the circle, inside the curved part. Okay, now you see the ball's pretty flat, and I just turn the paw and the ball engages in the cutout there in the recess. So now I take the switch and the rubber gasket, I put it back on the switch, make sure it's in the recess there like that. Now I take the switch, remember the flat part corresponds with the flat part in the paw. I drop that in like that. This is what it looks like. You take your pawl screw, your small pawl screw, you put that in the hole, your T6 driver, and you torque that down. Remember not to torque this too much. It's a T6 and it's made in Taiwan, Asian screw, so they're notorious for stripping out. So I will go light with something as delicate as a T6. If you have to, put like a drop of Loctite on the threads to keep it stable. But I wouldn't start like really torquing this down. Okay, so we got that far. At this point, you take your gear and the rubber gasket and you put that back on to the anvil side of the gear like that. Make sure it's in the recess there flat. You drop your gear into the mechanism, and this is what it looks like when it's ratcheting. Okay, now you take your plate, remember with the letters up, and you drop that in there. You take your plate screws with your T10 driver, and you screw them in. Remember again, not too much torque, because like I said, these Asian Taiwanese screws are kind of notorious for stripping out and being not the greatest. So if you have to, put a drop of Loctite there to keep them tight. Alright, now it's all buttoned up. You test it out, see if it's ratcheting. Yep, it's ratcheting. Okay, that's my teardown of the Duralast from Autozone 73-873 Ratchet with the rubber handle. Okay guys, till next time, take care.